1:20 a.m., May 12, 1945. Burma jungle. Lachiman Gurung crouches in a forward trench with two other soldiers. Then Japanese grenades start falling. He grabs the first, throws it back. Grabs the second, throws it back. The third one lands right in front of him. He lunges for it. It detonates in his hand. His right hand explodes into shredded meat and bone fragments. Fingers gone. Palm destroyed. Shrapnel tears through his face, body, and leg. Both comrades are wounded and useless. Most men would collapse, screaming. Gurung pulls out his Khukuri knife, stabs it into the ground in front of his trench, and roars at 200 advancing Japanese soldiers that not one of them will pass. Welcome to the world of the Gurkhas, mountain warriors from Nepal who treat impossible odds like minor inconveniences. These aren't superhuman giants. Most stand around 5 feet 3 inches to 5 feet 7 inches tall. But what they lack in height, they compensate with courage that defies human survival instinct. Their motto? Better to die than be a coward. And they mean it literally. Since 1814, when the British Empire tried conquering Nepal and got bloodied so badly, they decided to recruit these fighters instead. Gurkhas have built a reputation as some of the most formidable warriors on earth. During World War II alone, nearly 250,000 Gurkhas served the British forces. Over 43,000 died. 12 earned the Victoria Cross, Britain's highest military honor. But numbers don't capture what makes Gurkhas legendary. Individual stories do. And some of these stories sound too insane to be true. Except they are. Let's rewind to 1814. Battle of Nalapani. The British Empire, having gobbled up huge chunks of India, turned hungry eyes toward Nepal's mountain kingdom. They sent 1,600 heavily armed troops to take a hill fort defended by 600 Gurkhas. The math wasn't in Nepal's favor. Nobody told the Gurkhas that. For over a month, this small force held their ground. By late October, 35 British soldiers were dead and 228 wounded, taken down by Nepalese bows, matchlock weapons, and stones thrown by women and children. Even Gurkha civilians gave the empire headaches. As British artillery slowly picked them off, Gurkhas still refused surrender. When the fortress finally fell in November, only 68 of the original 600 defenders remained alive. Some even escaped despite complete encirclement, probably just to prove they could. The British, who normally responded to resistance by doubling conquest efforts, did something unusual. They started recruiting these fearsome fighters. Military equivalent of saying if you can't beat them, hire them. That practice continues today. Fast forward to September 1915. France. Battle of Loos. Kulbir Thapa and the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Gurkha Rifles, had the delightful task of clearing German trenches while wearing gas masks. Not optimal fighting conditions. By the end of their push, Thapa was injured and the last man standing from his group. He spotted a wounded British soldier who begged to be left behind. Thapa stayed with him all day and night. At dawn, using mist as cover, he carried the man to safety. Then went back and rescued 2 more Nepalese soldiers. For his grand finale, Thapa returned for the original soldier in broad daylight. As he zigzagged across no man's land carrying a wounded man, German machine gunners targeted him. Somehow, every shot missed. Then something remarkable happened. German soldiers were so impressed, they stopped firing and broke into applause. In the middle of one of history's bloodiest conflicts, Thapa's bravery was so extraordinary that even the enemy paused to appreciate it. He became the first Nepalese soldier awarded the Victoria Cross. The Germans literally applauded the man they'd been trying to kill seconds earlier. Jump to March 5th, 1945. Burma. Rifleman Bhanbhagta Gurung and the 2nd Gurkha Rifles approached a Japanese position when machine gun fire pinned them down. A sniper started picking them off from a tree 75 yards away. Most people would dig holes with bare hands. Gurung simply stood up, casual as ordering coffee, and shot the sniper dead. Within 20 yards of their objective, they discovered at least 5 enemy foxholes blocking their path. Gurung apparently decided this was taking too long. He sprang forward through a hailstorm of bullets in what became the 1940s equivalent of a video game boss run. Foxhole 1, 2 grenades, enemies neutralized. Foxhole 2, 1 bayonet charge, enemy dispatched. Foxholes 3 and 4, more bayonet work while being shot at point-blank range. The final boss, a light machine gun position with 3 soldiers, remained. Having used all fragmentation grenades, Gurung improvised with smoke grenades. When 2 blinded Japanese soldiers ran out clutching their eyes, he introduced them to his Khukuri knife, the curved blade iconic to Gurkhas. For the 3rd soldier, Gurung crawled into the bunker, snuck behind him, and ended the threat. Then, anticipating counterattack, he and his men held position and repulsed enemy response. For turning what should have been squad effort into a one-man show, Gurung received the Victoria Cross. Think these stories are just bygone-era relics? Meet Acting Sergeant Diprasad Pun of the 1st Battalion, Royal Gurkha Rifles, September 17, 2010, Afghanistan. Pun was on watch when he heard noise he initially thought was a cow. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Taliban fighters were setting an IED at the compound gate. What followed was 17 minutes of pure action movie material, except real life. Alone in pitch black, Pun fired 250 machine gun rounds, emptied 6 rifle magazines, hurled 17 grenades and a claymore mine at approximately 15 attackers from multiple directions. When they got too close for conventional weapons, he beat them away with a machine gun tripod. At one point, he dropped a sandbag on an enemy's head, climbing to his position. Throughout the fight, he motivated himself, shouting Mari Talai, Nepalese for I'll kill you. When dust settled, 3 attackers were dead. The rest fled. Pun was awarded the Conspicuous Gallantry Cross, Britain's 2nd highest combat honor. But let's return to Lachiman Gurung's story. Remember him? The man whose hand just exploded? 200 Japanese soldiers are advancing on his position. His right hand is destroyed, fingers blown off, shrapnel embedded in his face and body. Both comrades are wounded and useless. The entire camp behind him is asleep and vulnerable. Most humans would pass out from shock and blood loss. Gurung picks up his bolt-action Lee Enfield rifle with his left hand and starts shooting. Using only his left hand to reload and fire, Gurung waited for every Japanese soldier approaching his trench to shoot them. He yelled at them, "Come and fight a Gurkha!" For 4 entire hours, Gurung held his position alone, killing every enemy soldier who came close. As he saw it, he was about to die anyway, so he decided to go out fighting. Being a Gurkha, backing down wasn't an option. Early morning, his comrades relieved Gurung, who had lost massive blood. 31 Japanese soldiers lay dead in front of his spot. His efforts inspired other soldiers to hold off waves of Japanese attacks for 2 more nights and 3 days. For his gallantry, Lachiman Gurung was awarded the Victoria Cross by the Viceroy of India at the Red Fort in Delhi on December 19, 1945. Even though he lost sight in his right eye and his entire right hand, Gurung continued serving with the 8th Gurkhas. After completing service in 1947, he returned to his village to farm. On December 12, 2010, Lachiman Gurung died at 92 years old. What makes Gurkhas so formidable? Part of it comes from their homeland. Nepal sits on the southern slopes of the Himalayas. Life in such rough environment made them tough soldiers who never questioned orders and didn't see retreat as an option. When British first encountered them during the Anglo-Nepalese War from 1814 to 1816, they found mutual respect for Gurkha fighting abilities. Large numbers volunteered for British Army afterward. Their distinctive weapon, the Khukuri knife, became almost mythical. Khukuris were designed as cutting knives, length varying from 16 to 18 inches. They're distinctive for forward curving blades, sharp only on lower concave sides. Legend says the blade shape resembles Nepal. Gurkhas were incredibly skillful with kukris, known to inflict severe damage in close combat using only these knives. Their attacks were always followed by battle cry Ayo Gurkhali, meaning the Gurkhas are upon you. During World War II, Gurkhas wore typical British Indian Army dress, M37 khaki drill uniform with distinctive slouch hats called tarai hats, actually two hats sewn together for rigidity. They carried standard British weapons like Lee Enfield rifles and Bren machine guns, plus American Thompson submachine guns, but each Gurkha carried a Khukuri for close combat. On numerous occasions, they attacked enemies with rifle in one hand and Khukri in the other. Today, Gurkhas continue serving in British Army and Indian Army, maintaining legendary status. The rigorous selection process remains one of the world's toughest, with thousands of young Nepalese men competing for just a few hundred positions yearly. What these stories reveal is that Gurkhas aren't superhuman. They're human beings who've cultivated a culture where courage, duty, and honor matter more than survival instinct. From Battle of Nalapani, where 600 held against 1,600, to Kulbir Thapa earning enemy applause while rescuing wounded under fire, to Lachiman Gurung fighting one-handed for 4 hours against 200 attackers, to Diprasad Pun dropping sandbags on Taliban heads, Gurkhas consistently demonstrate that size doesn't determine fighting effectiveness. Mental fortitude does. Their motto, better to die than be a coward, isn't just words. It's operational philosophy proven repeatedly in combat across 2 centuries. The legacy continues. Modern Gurkhas serve in Iraq, Afghanistan, and peacekeeping operations worldwide. They maintain the same standards their ancestors established, the same refusal to surrender, the same willingness to face overwhelming odds, the same commitment to comrades that made Kulbir Thapa rescue wounded soldiers despite being injured himself, that made Lachiman Gurung fight with one hand when both hands would barely suffice. Subscribe, because we explore military history's most incredible stories, the ones that seem too extreme to be real but are documented fact. Comment which legendary military unit you want covered next. French Foreign Legion? Spartans? Roman Praetorians? Samurai? Navy SEALs? SAS? Let me know. The Gurkhas prove that warrior spirit transcends physical size, technological advantage, or numerical superiority. When Lachiman Gurung's hand exploded and he kept fighting for 4 hours, killing 31 enemies, when Kulbir Thapa made German soldiers applaud mid-battle, when Diprasad Pun fought off 15 Taliban attackers alone, they weren't superhuman. They were ordinary men doing extraordinary things because their culture demanded it. Better to die than be a coward isn't just a motto. It's a way of life that transforms farmers and shepherds from Himalayan villages into warriors so formidable that enemies sometimes stop shooting just to appreciate their courage. That's the Gurkha way. Face overwhelming odds, stand your ground, and if necessary, fight one-handed while bleeding out. See you next time when we dive into more military history that defies belief.